Welcome in. Good afternoon. It's the Ticket Punchers here on 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. I'm your host, Roman Kelly, joined by my co-host, Curtis Phillips Jr., as we take you guys up till 6 o'clock right at the end of our day here today. Friday show, so we've got a lot of punches and a lot of discussion to get out there to you guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in today to our lovers of the Ticket Puncher show and to our podcast listeners who tune in after our live hours, who probably more times than not miss out on a lot of our plays, but they still tune in, and we really appreciate you guys. We've got Carrie already in the chat as well, so we're going to get right to it with the chat and, of course, with our Game Day Mentel text line at 502-414-1450. Game Day Men's Health is redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com to find a new era in men's health. Curtis, happy Friday, my man. Excited to have you in on the show and excited to get these punches out there to our listeners and just overall chat about the state of these first round of the NBA playoffs, chat about how we're feeling about the NHL playoffs, look into some of the action we've got around locally to us here as well. Kings in action this weekend, Louisville City in action this weekend, and then, of course, looking into our punches for the night, whether that's MLB or NBA. Curtis, how are you today, though, sir? How's your Friday been?
Yeah, can you hear me all right, Roman?
We can hear you pretty great.
Okay, good. Yeah, doing all good, Roman. Ready to, get into the weekend and see some more games in the playoffs. including the NBA and NHL. So yeah, I'm doing good on this Friday. How about you?
I'm doing great as well. I'm excited to chat with you, Curtis. We've been having a pretty hot April for the most part. We've been positive every week of April, which feels good. Not as many plays that we plan to give out this month, but we've still got plenty of time here and a good weekend of punches that we can give out as well, Curtis. Let's get right into it. Jalen Brunson is an absolute liability. Alperen Sengun is an absolute liability. Shot creating in the NBA is as important as ever with your guard and perimeter play. And if you don't have good team defense from start to finish of a playoff game, more times than not, you're not gonna win. And we have now seen at least some of those things unfold, but it's kind of been a back and forth, right? Rockets not able to put it together. Raptors have had a good offensive game, a good defensive game, haven't been able to put both of those things together, but they have done so now, as you see in their last matchup. And I'm really just kind of excited to see where your head's at on some of these playoff series. I feel like it's very easy, Curtis, to take the first game or even the first two games of a playoff series and let whatever narratives have happened in those two games be the outcome of what's going to happen in that series. Now, you can take some of those kinds of points, those talking points, and they're accurate, right? If your best player on your team is your worst defender and he has to play because of what you guys need from him offensively, that will hinder you from start to finish because of how much he will be attacked defensively. We've seen that in Jalen Brunson now. If you're big and your interior presence can't create for you down low, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle relying fully on your perimeter guys. We've seen that in Houston. What's been the biggest surprise for you so far, though, in watching these first rounds or these first round series?
Yeah, I think for me, well, first I'll just touch on that point that you mentioned with Jalen Brunson being a liability. We've seen the Hawks kind of just really exploit that, get him in a pick and roll screen to where he's on CJ McCollum and then just let McCollum eat. Or if it's one of those bigger guards, forwards, Jalen Johnson, then they just have the advantage each and every time. But for me, I guess this wasn't as big as of a surprise as people might think, but the Timberwolves beating the Nuggets game 3. But I just think for the Nuggets, Aaron Gordon is a huge loss. We'll have to monitor his status and see if he's going to be healthy through the rest of this series. But if Aaron Gordon's not going to be able to come back, I think Timberwolves win this series. If he does, let's just say in game 4, then I think the Nuggets will ultimately come back and win. And I think that'll go to 7. Also, the San Antonio Spurs and Trailblazers just got a little bit interesting as well. I haven't checked the Wemby status in a few hours, but for me, I'd assume he's not playing, just coming off a concussion. Okay, they already ruled him out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that series just got way much more interesting. Obviously, let's just say hypothetically the Trailblazers win this third game here, then that just got a little bit more interesting.
Changes that series
so, yeah,
completely.
It does. So yeah, it's been some interesting series. So yeah.
And if the Spurs somehow don't get out of this first round, I mean, do we have any confidence that the Thunder aren't your Western Conference representative at that point?
Yeah, at that point, it would be the Nuggets. I think if the Nuggets was to get out of this first series, then I think the Nuggets could give them trouble. If not the Nuggets, then I don't think anybody. I think Thunder, yeah, they're definitely getting to the finals. So
I think that the Timberwolves could be an interesting, like, if that offense can look like how it did last night, game in and game out, the Timberwolves can win an NBA championship. Are you going to get that from Jaden McDaniels game in and game out of each of these playoff series? I just don't know. But they've got the defender, right, in a Jaden McDaniels for a player like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander if they can get to that point. And then for the sake of the Nuggets, the Thunder don't have a defender. Like, Chet's not enough to stop Jokic, right? And you don't want to have Shai on Jamal Murray from start to finish in a playoff game. That's not going to go well for Shai, defensively at least. So they probably end up going back and forth and both have 40 points on each other. But I just think that could create definite matchup problems for both of those sides if they do get there. I just don't know if the Nuggets have enough offense to compete with the Thunder offense. Now, with that being said, it may not matter if the Spurs don't get a win. If the Spurs don't get a win in this series, or if they don't win this series, I should say, I don't see the Thunder getting stopped from their route to the finals. Let's look into these games that we've got in action tonight, Curtis. I mean, I wanted to try to talk about the NBA draft, the NFL draft a little bit, just because there are a couple of interesting points now with some of these draft spots that the players have gone into. We're not going to get any props opened up for a while, but when you look at Makai Lemon falling to the 20th spot to a Philadelphia team that literally just got rid of a receiver that quite literally does all of the things that Makai Lemon is going to be able to do at the NFL level, at least as a rookie. You want him to be that deep ball threat, right? You want him to kind of unlock his abilities after the catch. Those are kind of the question marks. The speed off the line, the catching ability and the short passing game, and that elusiveness with that strength combination and that quickness, he is going to be running those short slants and getting first downs on day one in the NFL. And it's kind of wild. I mean, he's my favorite for offensive rookie of the year already. Before anything even gets started, I'm going to be placing a bet for Makai Lemon. I mean, I'm going to be surprised if he's not going to be the favorite, but maybe if you get in on him early enough, you can still get some good odds on that. That was just for the sake of betting. That was the only thought I had last night from the NFL draft, Curtis. I wanted to ask you, did you have any immediate betting thoughts centered around a player or a team or maybe a quarterback getting a weapon that's going to allow him to get unlocked going forward?
Well, there was another guy I was thinking about offensive rookie of the year, and that was not Jalen Tyson, but
Jordan Tyson.
His brother. Yeah, his brother.
Going to my
Tyson,
Saints now.
Going to your Saints, exactly. So that's a guy with some deep ball threat. He can jump off the line pretty fast, and I think he'll do well paired up with a guy like Chris Olave, and I think a guy like Shuck can give him the ball pretty easy because he can create space for himself. So Jordan Tyson was a guy I was looking at for offensive rookie of the year, but I do love the pick for the Eagles by Makai Lemon. I know a lot of Steelers fans are mad. I think that's who they was going for. Eagles trade up a pick ahead and get him, but I think he'll be great in Philadelphia because ultimately I do think A.J. Brown is gone. We've already heard rumors about him going to the Patriots, but other than really those two, I didn't have any crazy thoughts on the NFL draft.
Yeah, not yet. We're gonna have to see how round 2 looks. There could be some of those types of picks as well in this second round. I mean, there's definitely going to be players who compete for those awards as rookies in this second round, but going to be interesting just because of what they have with that 4th and 5th pick. I mean, the Titans and the Cardinals grabbing those kinds of picks that early changed everything for a lot of teams, and you're going to see that kind of the madness from that unfold today as well in that second round. Hopefully we can see Chris Bell get taken off the board as well. Would like to see a Louisville player go to somewhere that is going to give him the opportunity to get back to his peak as an athlete, because that peak as an athlete is definitely an NFL receiver. Got Kerry in the chat here. He says, Tyson going to go crazy with Shuck. I agree 100%, Kerry. Tyler needed that second kind of a threat. The Vele kid, I don't know if that one is what you wanted to be your 1B piece to what you've got with Olave. Jordan Tyson, I think, is the perfect come in as a rookie at the wide receiver 2 spot, and within a year or two, you kind of send Olave to that wide receiver 2 spot and give him those, the more basic routes, and you kind of cut up with Jordan Tyson and make him be we're going to throw him in the backfield, we're going to put him in motion, we're going to let him run the ball occasionally on some of those jet sweeps and things. You know, those Saints have been prone to having those creative offensive sets. And once we get a fully healthy offensive line, the perfect kind of offensive weapon for Tyler to go alongside Olave. So that's huge. Curtis, let's look into last night's matchups and what we have happening tonight in the NBA. We mentioned it at the beginning of the show. CJ McCollum is attacking Jalen Brunson every single time he sees that matchup down on the floor. Mikal Bridges was absolutely terrible last night. Josh Hart, bad as well last night. OG Anunoby is the only reason that game was as close as it was. He hit like three-pointers right at the buzzer, the shot clock buzzer late in that fourth quarter in that second half to keep them close there. A lot of tough shots being made there. Brunson did his thing from 2 in this game, but he didn't hit any three-pointers, unfortunately. Karl Towns 21 points, 17 rebounds, but he's a liability on offense, on defense. He's not. They put him into those switches, and it's barbecue. Anybody can get by Karl Towns if you pull him out of the paint far enough. And I've changed my stance on a second series now. Felt like I was wrong about the Lakers and Rockets series. Kerry, you kind of let me know about that privately, that you didn't like that pick I made in the Lakers series with the Rockets getting the job done. I will admit I feel like I was wrong. I've gone to the Lakers side now, and I'm shifting this one as well, Curtis. The Hawks are going to beat these Knicks.
I thought you had Hawks originally.
We had Hawks in that game. We had Hawks in that game to win that game.
Okay.
I had Hawks to win, so we hit that. Series. We hit the over as well, but we didn't. We picked the Knicks to win the series in 6. So I'm shifting that. I'm going to go Hawks in 6, which is kind of crazy.
Okay.
Raptors handle the Cavs. Timberwolves handle the Nuggets. No surprises really in those two games once they got off to those leads that you saw. What do you got for us tonight, Curtis? Let's hear about the official punches in tonight's NBA slate.
Yeah, we'll start off with the early game, Celtics 76ers. And there's really no analysis on this, but I think Jason Tatum cuts up tonight. Just one of those prime spots, coming off a bad loss, blowout loss versus the Sixers, and I just think he is very aggressive tonight. I like his over 33.5 points and rebounds. We already know what he's been doing, rebounding the ball. He's really almost averaging double-digit rebounds since coming back from injury, and I think this is one of those games where he goes for like 26 and 12 or 13. So I think Jason Tatum gets his PR line. And then I'll also be on De'Aaron Fox, 20-plus points tonight at -111 on the road versus the Trailblazers. And his splits with and without Wemby are pretty tremendous. I think his points jump up right around 5 or 6 points with Wemby
6 points higher per game without Wemby.
Yeah, so as a vet carrying a young squad, De'Aaron knows what he needs to do, and that's score the ball. So De'Aaron Fox, 20-plus points at -111. Jason Tatum, over 33.5 points and rebounds at -128. Those will be my 2 official punches in the NBA.
No team props tonight then, Curtis.
No team props. I do have a strong lean to the Lakers side, though. I know.
I was going to say, I'm leaning the other way, and it's partially because of that Lakers game. But go ahead. Where are you leaning? Throw us a jab in that Lakers game.
I mean, it's on the spread. I know it's game 3. That can be kind of a letdown spot, especially when you're up 2-0. But when you have an offense like the Houston Rockets right now they're just simply struggling. Like, it's hard to lay that amount of points with a team that's struggling so bad on offense. And when you have a guy like Marcus Smart that's kind of locking up KD like that, then it's hard to lay that amount, I think. So that's a strong lean for your Lakers, Roman, to go in Houston.
It's going to be my first official punch of the night, Curtis. Is actually going to be the original Lakers spread from earlier today before the line moved. Lakers were 8.5-point dogs. I'm on that 8.5 because it's moved to 9, and I can now get that 8.5 at +102. No reason for this line to shift up a whole point against a team that has struggled literally on both ends of the floor in 2 games already. Yes, they were the away team, but you had the best, quote unquote, best player on the floor for one of these games, and you still lost, right? Don't think you've got the most valuable player in this series at this point. Kevin Durant has not shown to be the decision maker you need him to be in these kinds of spots when he gets zoned in from the defense. I like the Lakers to win tonight, but my Big X, my first official punch for the day, Curtis, is going to be that +8.5 at +102. I'm taking plus money for my Lakers tonight to cover that 9 points. I don't think we lose. If I'm being honest, we will be sprinkling on that +260 money line while we can still +285 now that the line shifted. So I'm definitely going to be sprinkling on that +285, but we're 100% on the +8.5 for the sake of some plus money on a team that has not been 9-point dogs, has not resembled a 9-point dog at any point of this series. First official punch. Technically, it's the first official, but we will be playing a punch in the 7-10 game with the 76ers and the Celtics. Curtis, Not a lot of analysis on this one, just for the sake of we've seen the Celtics score a lot of points once in this series. We've seen the 76ers score a lot of points in this series. Some people would suggest that you're going to get a lower scoring game now that the two teams have had the chance to figure each other out. I think it's going to go the other way around. I see both teams getting over that 110 mark, how they've shown they're capable of in this series. And I don't think the shot making is going to be as bad as it's been for the team that's been at the deficit so far in these two games. Give me the over 215.5 at minus 108 in that Celtics 76ers matchup for tonight. I see both of these going not well over, but I see both teams getting over that 108, 110 mark and covering that 215.5 for us in that one. I don't have a play for tonight's game, the late game. It's just tough to gauge what you're going to get out of the Spurs when there is no Wemby. Is it going to be Devin Vassell stepping up? Is it going to be Keldon Johnson stepping up? You expect it from the veteran in De'Aaron Fox, right? But the books expect it in Fox, so you don't really get the best of odds on some of his lines for tonight. So we're staying away. We're going to lean Spurs to win as a jab for the sake of the bet tonight because I like to play all three games if I can. But I don't have an official punch in tonight's game at 10:40 p.m., Curtis. Plus, I just hate the 10:40 tips. I will go ahead and admit there's a chance I don't finish it. I don't watch all the way through on this one.
I'd never.
If it's you've got the baby at home, you've got to be you're fathering after a certain point in the night, and then you've got to get to sleep yourself because you got to get right back to it in the morning early. So I get that for sure. At that point in the night, like midnight and it's halftime. Come on, I can't do that. I cannot do that. I'm trying to read my book. I'm trying to hang out with my girlfriend. I'm trying to watch our show that we may be watching because she's been watching me watch basketball for the last 4 hours. It's just tough to finish out that third game when you've already watched the first two. And not to mention it's got the least star power as well with no Wembanyama. But with that being said, Curtis, it's probably going to be the best game tonight. It's going to be the game where the most lead changes, I bet. And it's going to have the game where both teams lead. And I bet you neither team leads by more than 10 points at any point in this game. With that being said, it's going to be the one that I don't watch all the way through tonight. Unless it's like last 5 minutes of the game and you've got a tie game, then I'll cut it on just to see it end. But that's going to be at like 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m. in the night. That's just so hard to deal with if it is a low-scoring game with a lot of fouls. But we'll see. Anything outside of the NBA for the sake of Philly picks tonight? You've been hot with the dingers. You hit a few dingers this week, Curtis. I know you also tailed a few dingers as well from some of your other handicappers that you do some betting work with. But make us some money tonight in the MLB ranks. Give us a punch or two, Curtis.
Yeah, we'll start off with the Guardians and Blue Jays.
Actually, Curtis, let me interrupt. I've got to interrupt. There's a lot of Cincinnati Reds listeners on the Big X. It's a big Cincinnati fan base on the show. Mike Rutherford, obviously a Cincinnati Reds fan. You are a big diehard Cincinnati Reds fan, big baseball fan yourself. You've been playing your whole life and been watching it your whole life. Your Reds are hot right now. They're hot in a weird way. Yeah. Like, they're not always scoring a lot of runs in these wins, but they have been stringing some wins together, Curtis. How are you feeling about your Reds' chances in, how do I say this, being a more fun team than the last couple of years?
Yeah, I'm excited, but at the same time,
I'm what's coming?
The brakes. Yeah, it's like I don't want to get overhyped, especially when you're playing a 160-plus game season. You're going to go on your runs, your streaks of wins and losses. But the fact that we're 16-9, leading our division right now, that is some promising hope. But we're also in a division where every team is above 500. Yeah. That's the only division in the MLB. So we know we got some competition. Pirates, Cardinals, and the Reds as well, all playing kind of above what people expected at this point in the season. But it is a kind of promising sign that we do have currently the best bullpen ERA, something that we improved on last year. We had a pretty bad bullpen, a lot of bad relievers last year. So the fact that we're not giving up a lot of runs in the late innings, that does help. And our two young stars, Ellie De La Cruz, Sal Stewart, both playing some really good ball. So I am excited, but at the same time, I still want to see it for a full season, and hopefully we can get back to the playoffs this year. And also one of my favorite Reds, Brandon Phillips, getting his jersey retired tomorrow. So that'll be exciting as well. So
a lot of fun happening with the Reds right now. Young guys coming through for them. Just need the pitchers to consistently start coming through and hold it down till the aces get back healthy, and then maybe we can start seeing just how accurately serious these Reds are going to be. Had to get your take on that, Curtis, because you are our Reds guy here on the Ticket Punchers. But let's get into the outro of the show here, Curtis. You had a couple of MLB plays for us. Let's hear them.
Yeah, Guardians and Blue Jays. Guardians pitching their ace, Gavin Williams, and then on the other side, it's Max Scherzer for the Blue Jays. And I just think at this age, 41 for Max Scherzer, I don't think he's a reliable starting pitcher in the MLB. So we're gonna fade him, and take Guardians on the money line at -126. And the Guardians are just playing better than the Blue Jays right now. Blue Jays dealing with some injuries. So I think Guardians get the win, even on the road there. And then we're going to go to the Angels and Royals. Angels throwing Yasai Kikuchi out there, and Royals have Noah Cameron. And I like the Angels here. I got it at -104. Royals have really been struggling. The bats, the bullpens, and their starters. They're 1-9 in their last 10 games. And I know Kikuchi has not been great, but if you look at his schedule, the teams that he's pitched against, he's had a gauntlet. Faced the Astros, Cubs, Braves, Yankees, Padres. Those are all top 10, top 15 teams in the league. He did struggle in all of those, but Royals will be the best matchup he gets thus far. So I do love the Angels on the money line as well. We're going to take a jab, a no home run bet. In the very late game, the Marlins and Giants, two lineups that don't have a lot of power in a pitcher-friendly park with the wind blowing in. Those are all factors that I look at when I'm looking at these no home run bets, and these check off all the boxes with some solid pitchers in Alcantara and Adrian Hauser. So I do love the no home run there as a jab. So those will be my official punches in the MLB.
I like it. I've got one play in NHL for tonight, Curtis. The 7 p.m. matchup between the Lightning and the Canadians. Total sitting at 6.5 in this one. Nearly hit this in the first game. OT, late goal, and then OT kind of ruining that for us there. We hit it in the second game with overtime. I expect this one to be a very, 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 very close back and forth game. Them trying to pick their spots wisely. Nobody looking to go down 2 goals here in this one. You're going to see them planting those defenders in front of the goal as soon as those transitions happen. So I expect this one to go under again tonight. Don't really have a lean in the matchup, but I do like the lean on the under. We're going to go ahead and make that an official punch at 6.5 on the under for us as well. And Curtis, this is going to wrap us up here on the Ticket Punchers for today. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in for today. We're going to send out our picks for Saturday and Sunday on the Ticket Punchers X account, where you can catch all of our plays there as well, Curtis. And without further ado, let's go punch those tickets.
Let's punch those tickets.
We'll be back on Monday.
United Mechanic.
All right, Curtis. Great show, my man. I got to jump out of here quicker than planned, so I can't go on for the Saturday plays, but let's get those tweeted out.
Yes, sir. I'll get them tweeted out.
All right. I'll try to get we'll make sure we get our Saturday plays tweeted out by the morning time tomorrow if we can, or at least by the early afternoon. And then we'll try to get ours punched out for tonight as well. Shout out to everybody listening in and tuning in on the show here today. Let's go punch those tickets, Curtis.
Punch those tickets. Shout out, Curtis.